Earlier in the course, I said something like you should never use more than one consecutive word space. That may have struck you at the time as being a bit of an extreme statement, a little inflexible perhaps. Well, of course, there are times when we want to use different spacing widths. Part of the solution is tabs, and the other part of the solution is using InDesign's different white space characters. So InDesign has all of these different white space characters in their own right. Of course, I've colored them in for the example, but they are just spacing. And here is where you can access them. And here is their relative size. So how might you use these? Perhaps after a bullet. Now, when we looked at bullet and numbered lists, I pointed out that most likely after the text, you will have a tab character, and that tab character will push the text out to the left indent amount. But perhaps you prefer to work with flushed bullets rather than hanging indent bullets, in which case, and there is actually a space in there, in which case you just want perhaps a word space after the bullet. Or if you want that space to be bigger, maybe you could have an end space. Or if you really want to go large, an M space. Here's a use case for a flush space and a punctuation space. So I have fully justified my text here so that it fills the full width of my text frame. But you can see it's not working because I want oranges and lemons to be kept together as one unit. So one approach would be to use a flush space, and I'm going to, having input 1, I'm going to select it, Command or Control C to copy it, and then select that word space, Command or Control V to paste it. So that's what we get with using flush spaces. Or if I want to space the whole thing out evenly, then I could use a punctuation space. And again, having input 1, I will select it, copy it, and then paste it over all of the existing word spaces. We also have figure spaces. Now these can be useful when you're working with tabular numerals. And as we have seen, tabular numerals are intended to be used in tables so that the numbers stack up. Occasionally, you may need to lend a helping hand in the form of a figure space, which is the exact width of a tabular number. So if I were to replace that figure space with just a regular word space, you can see how everything now falls out of alignment. But if we use instead figure spaces, everything lines up nicely, just so long as we're working with tabular lining numerals.